Hello everybody, welcome back. Magic Cat Security. I've been checking recently, looking through the different video tutorials I've done, and I thought sure I'd done one on beef-xss, and I hadn't. I thought sure I had, so that's what I'm going to do a tutorial on today. There are lots of tutorials for this particular tool on the internet, but every one I've seen, they just kind of breeze through it, and it doesn't look like much more than a toy. The thing is, it's much more powerful than that. So I'm going to go a little bit more in depth than most of them do. I've already got a bunch of things set up here. So let's get started. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do in the terminal here is I'm going to sudo up. Okay, and there we go. Alright, now I want to start up my web browser. My web server, Apache. I have my own little script here. If you're interested in the script, it just makes it a lot easier to do all the different commands you need to do dealing with Apache without having to memorize all the stuff or type all the stuff in. So I'm going to check status first, see if it's on. It's not on. Okay, so go ahead and start it. And I have various little utility apps I use. I loaded them up on a GitHub repository, so I'll put that link from our repository at the bottom of the video. So if you'd like to grab any of these to use, you're welcome to. Check it, and yes, it is active now. Very good. So we can leave this script. Okay. Now, before we start up Beef, we're going to be redirecting to our own computer here. Okay. Now I have it set up so that I'm using one of the virtual machines with Windows 10 on it. I've got Chrome opened up in here. So that's what we're going to be using. So it's going to be a little bit different, just so I can do it internally here for you to see everything going on. But I'll explain that as I go. Okay, now you're going to need a link, a web link, a URL going back to your computer. Now, if you're behind a router or something like that, typically you would need to put in your external IP, not your internal IP. Anyone outside of your network is not going to have access to your internal IP. Okay, so it has to be your external, which means your router will have to be set up to forward those types of calls to your computer. Okay, and hopefully you know how to do that. But once you set up your address, you don't want to have an IP address and all for your web address to give to your victim. So you can go to a place like this, web shortener, and there's a bunch of free ones out there, and it gives you a little shortened address like this. Okay. Now, if you want to look a little bit more official, you get you an account at noip.com, and it gives you can get something like this. Okay, and we're going to do a pretend ringtone website where people can download ringtones. Okay, and so we'll do ringtones.bounceme.net. That looks a lot more official. So we could send that to a victim. All right, for them to click on it, which would redirect them back to our computer, to our server. So now, let me open up a tab here. Now let's go ahead and crank up Beef, okay? And I'm going to go over a couple of things on this for you. So beef-xss. And then we're going to let that boot up. And I haven't set up the GeoIP database. You can do that through MaxMind. Just do a web search for it, and you can set it up to work with this to IP locate connections also. I was trying to open up Firefox and already have it open, so I'm not worried about that. Now, it tells you here it's opening up the panel. See, it says panel. That's the control panel for you to work from. Now, if you see here, it says hook. Okay, so this is the hook that you need to put into your web page. Now, sites like WordPress sites are perfect for this because a WordPress website works kind of like, it's like a nested page. Okay, so say this is your WordPress site. This part up here would be the header, and then here would be a different page that has the menu, and then this page in the center that's nested in the middle of it would be what shows your main data. So every time somebody clicks on a menu item, it just reopens this part. Header stays there and the menu stays there. So that means if you put the hook in this page, that's the header, they're constantly going to be hooked to your Beef program. Okay, so a WordPress type site is perfect for this type of thing, but we're doing it very simple today. All right, and let's see, go to here. All right, now where you're going to put that, here's just a simple nothing HTML. Okay, now, and I'm using, in case you want to know, I'm using Bluefish. Okay, and Bluefish is great. It does autocomplete for your tags and everything, and it's just got all your code standards and everything here. It's a good editor for doing web development in Linux. And it doesn't throw a bunch of garbage in it like something like Dreamweaver would do. Okay, so you can make it as complicated or simple as you want. This is a very simple plain HTML layout right here, a template. So you got the title, my new website, head, and right inside the body is where you want to put that hook. You see, that's our hook right there. Okay, so, and right here where it says your IP goes here, that's where you put your external IP address. Okay, but make sure it's inside the body. You would think it's going in the head, but it doesn't. It goes into the body. Okay, so that's just to show you how to set up the page. Now I already have predefined little website set up for ringtones. All right, but let's go ahead and open up our Beef panel over here, and I already have the link set up. There we go. So when you go to this, and now if you don't have the browser open already, it'll automatically open up the browser to this page for you, but I already had it open, so I just went to it. But this is the panel link right there. You can use that to click it open if you need to, if it doesn't open automatically. The first time you set up Beef, it will request that you set a new password, because the default is beef. Okay, so you'll set up a new password. Alright, now we're logged into Beef. Now this is the interface you're going to see when you first log in. Here's your logout over here, shows the version. Online browsers, offline browsers, getting started. This explains a little bit to you here, including the color codings, okay, and how some of the parts work. So it does not hurt to read through this to get to know Beef better. All right, and they have some links here that will tell you a bit more about how it works, because it's a lot more intricate, more powerful than most of the tutorial videos I've seen out there show you. You'll have logs here of different connections that you've had. If you collect different people connecting to it, they become a zombie, something you reconnect to. You can set up persistence, and this will collect your zombie list right here. And you see it has valuable information, their IP, domain, port, browser, blah, 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 OS version, last time they connected, first time. Okay, so now that we've got Beef up and running, we're going to, let's go to the virtual machine. We'll send our victim our phony URL. Okay, now like I said, we're doing this internally, so I'm using an internal IP address, and we're basically linking back to ourselves from an external IP on the it's another internal IP, but on the VM machine. I'm running NAT on this instead of bridged, so it gives it a 10.0 type IP address. Alright, now, okay, so here's our little ringtone site. Okay, and if we look back over here on Beef, just watch closely. Now it's got to run a little bit slower right now because I've got a whole bunch of stuff open in the background and over here in the recorder. There it is. So we just hooked a victim. Okay, that's our Windows IP that we just hooked. Now, you see it's showing us all this information. You see the origin IP address, where they're connecting from, what operating system they have, possibly hardware, all that good stuff. Now, this will be unknown for hardware and location because I don't have the GeoIP database set up, and hardware because it's running from a virtual machine, so it can't figure out what it is. All right, so no big deal. But this is our victim. So now we click on our victim, and we're provided with a new screen. If you come over here to commands, okay, we have a whole bunch of commands here that we can run. And this website, now I did something to keep them occupied. They can click over to Android ringtones, and if they click over to, it'll load up in a minute here. Like I said, it's going to run kind of slow because everything's running on the same system. And I don't have the a real beefy laptop. It's decent, but there we go. And they have various ringtones, and they can actually play and listen to the ringtones, and they can actually download them. See, so it looks legit, you know. Legitimately, they can get ringtones here. Alright, so all kinds of ringtones they can look for. Even iPhone ringtones. And the important thing is, I put the hook in all three of these pages, so they're still hooked. And it's keeping them occupied so they stay on the site. You want something interesting, so they're going to stay on the site and keep them hooked long enough for you to do what you need to do. Excuse me. There we go. Here's our iPhone ringtones. Same thing, they can listen to them and download them, etc., etc. Okay? We'll just go back here. Now, for a little added touch, I put some advertisements on here, which of course are fake and all. I also have, for a little added touch, I put a link here. Download the newest secure chat client for Android, Zengi. And this is actually a loaded reverse TCP backdoor for Android. Okay, so, but I've got the neat little video here too, telling them about Zengi Messenger. Make it look all official. And so if they click on that, they'll actually, especially if they're already on their phone, they're getting a loaded download there, and it'll install the Zengi chat client just like normal, and they'll still be able to use it. They won't even know it's installing the backdoor. Okay, so our client's on there, and we got them hooked with beef-xss, and I'm going to show you, like here we have persistence, man in the browser, it's like man in the middle. If they're on a WordPress site, you can add administrator to their system. See, another positive about using the WordPress site to do this. You see, you've got all kinds of. I can grab a screenshot. Let's see. See if we can grab a screenshot there. And once the command is executed, it pops up here. If it says here, see how it says re-execute command? It was unable to do so. There'll be some things here that aren't going to function properly just because I'm doing this through a virtual machine, okay? So don't worry about that. Got a bunch of things here. We can detect if they have a Foxit reader, LastPass, just information, Silverlight, etc., etc. Look at this. We can just to give you an idea. There you go. We can create a. Let's see. You have been pwned. All right. So watch over here now. After I execute it, I execute the command. Oh, look at there. All right. Now that one you may or may not find use for it, but let's do a create a prompt here. Let's see. See. Now, see, I can send over a prompt, okay, with this one here, create prompt dialog. So execute it, and this is what's going to pop up over here. Connection error. Looks very official, see? please enter router password to stay connected. So I could get their router password there. You know, a lot of people, you'd be amazed how many people just type in their password and not think twice about it. And let's say we did, okay, password. We say, okay. So then I can go over here and look at there, answer equals password. So we just got their router password. And hopefully their router password is not password. Okay, so let's see. We got all kinds of exploits here. It will exploit their router and what have you. Persistence. You can set up persistence. You can hijack an open window. If they're on a phone, we have some for phones here. All kinds of good stuff. Alert user. You can do silly stuff too. You can redirect them. You can rickroll them. If you know what a rickroll is. Let's look at social engineering here. Now let me show you how this can actually be powerful. Let's see. Okay, fake flash update. That's one. Google phishing. Uses an image, okay. To log out of Google, continuously users logged out of Google, blah, 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 blah. So this can grab credentials. Okay, replace videos, fake plugin. A Firefox bind shell. Okay. So if they were on Firefox, I could grab that. Now we can go back here and see what browser they're using. It'll tell us the information. It'll grab what type of browser they're using. HA PowerShell. Now, an HTA is hypertext application implemented in Microsoft machines. So you can actually put an application in a type of web page called an HTA. If they're in a company, a smart administrator has already disabled that ability. Okay, so this was taking a while to load up. There we go. Let's reconnect it. There we go. Okay. Now, you can have payloads ready to upload to the system or have them download it. Launch XSS arrays on hooked domains. So there's all kinds of stuff you can do. Oh, there's a delay. Okay, so that's a disconnect, and it'll reconnect in a moment. Like I said, it's going to run a little slower because I'm working through a virtual machine here. So just be patient with me. Requester. Use as a proxy. It's just there's a lot of stuff you can do with this. And if we go to our zombies list, see, it's been added now as a zombie, so we can grab it again if we need to, if we've added persistence while they were logged in, which is great. All right, but there's all kinds of, it won't click right now because it's kind of locked up, which is fine. Like I said, I'm running a whole bunch of stuff here on a little laptop, so it's choking. I'll try one more time, reconnect. If it doesn't, then that's okay. We'll end it with it there, and we'll refresh this guy. So it'll tag it again. See what happens. There we go. There we go. Go back to our commands. All right, so let's go back on social engineering. I'm going to open this up a little bit. So there's all kinds of, like, here's one. I can actually put a malicious file. You put in the path there, and it explains to you where to put it, okay, and how to set this up. So run once, true or false, so it can automatically run it. So you can have them install a reverse TCP or something of the type. You can spoof the address bar, make it look like something else. It'll actually change the address. Firefox bind shell, that'll bind. The extension dropper, here's another one. There's just all kinds of things you can do with this. I can even redirect their web page. Detect Google desktop, detect printer, detect cups, antivirus, all kinds of things. You can get your permanent connection and then go ahead and be doing some research on the system while you're doing that. I can play a sound over there on their computer if I want to. Here we go. Here's a Rickroll. Let's do a Rickroll just for the heck of it. And boom. They took the video down because people were doing it too often, it looks like. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's just the lag from it being internal. So that's a Rickroll if you didn't know what it was. Okay. And you notice it did that, but it still looked like it was connected to the IP, so that's pretty good. So anyway, that's a little bit about Beef. Let's log out of it now. There we go. So you can see how it really could be a very powerful system. There's a lot you can do with it. It's not just a toy. It's just as viable as any of your other pen testing tools. So, like if you had particularly if you had a man in the middle going on a corporate site, I guarantee you could get a bunch of employees. They would have no idea, and you could get their credentials put in a reverse shell and all kinds of things with them not even having any idea that it's going on. Because you can hijack their traffic and redirect them. So that gives you an idea of what you can do with Beef. I hope that was informative for you. If you enjoyed the tutorial and learned something from it, please click on subscribe and like. I always can use more subscribers. Glad to have you. Look through some of the other tutorials. I have tutorials on all kinds of tools. A lot of them that you've heard of, a lot of common tools, and a lot of them that people don't normally do tutorials on that you may find in your Parrot or Kali Linux setup and be thinking, well, what the heck is that weird looking thing? I don't know. And so I have all kinds of tutorials on there. You can learn a lot on using the tools, which will help you tremendously going into your cybersecurity or pen testing career. All right, we're glad to have you aboard. Be sure to stop by and get you a membership on Facebook with the group I'm in. It's a great group. A lot to learn there. There are some very experienced people, a lot of inexperienced people. Everybody's learning together. That's Hacker Quebec on Facebook. Look us up, answer your application questions, and you're in. All right, so come see us. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening, and we'll see you the next time.